Good morning. I'm Harley Schlanger from the LaRouche Organization with your daily update for September 21st, 2021. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the effects of the green movement with the push for the Green New Deal connected to the Great Reset coming from Davos. The question is, will the green policy freeze Europeans this winter? Now, the propaganda out there is saying that this was the hottest summer that has ever been experienced in Europe. Now, I've lived in Germany now for 4 summers. This was by far the coldest summer. Very few hot days. It was almost impossible to find a hot enough day to go swimming. The whole of Northern Europe was cool. It was not hot. And yet the line is that this is the record of heat that's driving the green agenda, with the Fridays for Future movement and with the green policy coming up for the election next Sunday in Germany. Now, what's happening is that the policy of the Greens plus financial speculation is driving up the cost of electricity. And at the same time, the reliance on so-called sustainable methods, wind and solar, are driving up the costs, at the same time reducing the amount and the sustainability of the electricity. There's a report from Goldman Sachs that says there's a potential for widespread power outages this winter. The price for natural gas has tripled in Germany and the United Kingdom. The cost of coal, oil, and electricity overall has jumped. Utility costs in Germany are up 12% for the first 8 months of 2021. Now, the speculation which is driving up the prices is occurring at the spot market for gas at Amsterdam and the electricity markets which are run out of Leipzig. The decline in electricity production from wind parks is a factor in this. The fact is that these wind and solar, they call them solar parks, in bad weather at night when it's not windy, do not produce adequate electricity to make up for what's being lost from the shutdown of nuclear and the move to pull back from coal production. Now, this is going to get worse, likely, because the election next Sunday is going to probably lead to a red-green coalition, the Social Democrats and the Greens, both of which are ganging up against the Christian Democrats. The candidates for the two parties, the Social Democrats and the Greens, are for radical climate change policies, regardless of the cost and the effect of those. Now, with the nuclear exit approaching and calls for there are new calls from manufacturing associations in Germany to not exit from nuclear because there's not an adequate replacement. And this will have a dramatic effect. The cost and the lack of electricity will have a dramatic effect on the German industrial sector. Now, as far as the United Kingdom, there was a report in Zero Hedge yesterday which said that it says that expected bankruptcy in the United Kingdom of the vast majority of the 55 companies which supply electricity is about to happen. There have been 5 bankruptcies in these companies since August 1st. So there was an emergency cabinet session yesterday to take up the problem. And here's what Zero Hedge reports on that. Millions of Britons brace for natural gas and electricity inflation, soaring food prices, and possibly electricity shortages this winter. What did Prime Minister Boris Johnson have to say about this? Well, in the meantime, he was busy signing up for this new security agreement with the United States and Australia against China. What did he say about the conditions facing the people of the United Kingdom? He said, "We've got to try and fix it. We'll have to do everything we can." What's he doing? Well, he flew off to New York to co-chair a UN meeting on climate change, which will be demanding that China adopt the Green New Deal and Great Reset agenda. Johnson said he's going to issue a strong call for action on coal, climate, cars, and trees. So this is where you see the combination of fake science and financial deregulation having an effect on everyone in Europe, as well as, of course, the United States and around the world. Now, there's another aspect of this. The higher prices now in natural gas are forcing major cuts in the production of fertilizer. 2 leading fertilizer producers in the United Kingdom are suspending production, and prices are skyrocketing. So what does all this mean? Well, it means a specter of Malthus is haunting Europe, even as it's killing off whole sections of the populations around the world. The fake science of climate change, man-made climate change, is merging with financial deregulation and speculation and geopolitically induced sanctions to lead to starvation already from Afghanistan to Yemen, from Syria to Ethiopia, to the homeless populations in the United States, where children are malnourished and families face food insufficiency and the lack of proper access to proper nutrition. Now, why is this happening? Is it really the case that we can no longer produce the food we need, that we're destroying the planet because people are driving cars and eating better and heating their homes in the winter and cooling them in the summer? This is all nonsense. This is a fake, fabricated crisis that's designed to reduce the world's population, because that's the agenda of the Davos billionaires. It's not to save the planet. You know, if they want to save the planet, why are they all jetting off to these private summits where they plot out the murder of whole sections of the population which they consider to be useless eaters? This has been in the works since the 1960s. And this is something Lyndon LaRouche has fought since that time, up to his death, in which the LaRouche movement is continuing to fight to ensure that we have an actual approach to development of new technologies which are cleaner and more efficient, but also increase the energy flux density of the production process. If you don't do that, you're condemning people to death. And that's exactly what the Green New Deal and the Great Reset are designed to do: reduce the world's population dramatically. And you add to that the geopolitical machinations, such as this AUKUS deal that was just passed, and the great pivot to Asia. And what you see is that they're also willing to risk nuclear war as part of their agenda. I would urge you to go to the LaRouche Organization website and order a copy of the report that we put out, The Great Leap Backward: LaRouche Crushes the Green New Deal Fraud. This is a report that goes through in great detail much of what I've just presented, although what I presented is an update on things. But in terms of the systemic approach, or the systematic approach, to the destruction of energy and food production, it's all laid out in this report. This is something that every single person should read, study, and take out with you to organize others. The idea that we have to submit to the fake science of the Green New Deal, and that if we challenge them, we're told the debate is over, you're a climate denier. That's the worst form of intellectual sophistry, but also rationalization for murder. Don't submit to it. Get our report and join our fight to ensure that we can move to whole new levels of platforms of infrastructure with new levels of energy flux density that are needed for the whole world, not just for the United States and Europe. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow.